Well, welcome back to Glass Family Field at Myers Stadium for the second game of our doubleheader between the Metropolitan State University of Denver Roadrunners and our Northwestern Rangers. The Rangers won the first game by a score of 6-5 as Paul Sakin's walk-off single in the bottom of the ninth capped a Ranger comeback. On the mound for the Roadrunners in this game will be Jack Sleminski, a junior out of Scottsdale, Arizona, is making his first start of the season. Last year he started 13 games and went 9-2. And in 70 2/3 innings, he gave up 82 hits, 45 earned runs, 21 walks, 58 strikeouts, 9 home runs, and opponents batted .291 against him. He was an all-conference pitcher last year. He was a two-time conference pitcher of the week. And so what Ryan Strain is building at Metropolitan State in Denver is a program that is accustomed to winning. And that is exactly what they've done over the last several years, winning pretty close to 70% of their ball games over the last 3 years. Of course, the last 2 seasons making it to the NCAA tournament. For the Rangers, they will start Drew Price. Drew Price, a biology major out of Roswell, New Mexico, by way of New Mexico Military Institute. So Drew, 6'4", 215-pound right-hander. Starting lineups will be very similar to the first game. Dylan Bradford, Carson Wright, Hagen Barcelo, followed by Paul Sachin, Trevor Sayre, Porter Pittman, and Colby Grace, and Zach Vital for the Rangers. Brooks Rasmussen, Andrew Graham, Cam Uran, followed by Jake Williams, Zach Schuler, Andrew Paolini, Tyler Toby, and Jaden Cordova. And then the batting in the ninth hole for the Roadrunners will be Gavin Schmidt. So the Rangers look for the sweep, following up 2 walk-off wins to start this 3-game series to start the season against, like we've said, a very good Metropolitan State team. And leading off for the Roadrunners will be center fielder Brooks Rasmussen. Rasmussen in the first game went 2 for 5. He will look to continue his good start to the season here. Here's the first pitch from Price. And the first pitch to Rasmussen is going to be taken for ball 1. So 1-0 the count. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's going to be high and inside for a ball. Count's going to move to 2-0. So 2-0 the count. Here's the pitch from Price. And that's going to be taken for a ball. Count now moves to 3-0. One thing in that first game that the Ranger pitchers managed not to do a whole lot. They only had 1 walk. Price here facing with the threat of walking the leadoff hitter. Here's a 3-1 pitch. That's over for a strike. And the count moves to 3-1. So 3-1 the count. Top of the first, Rangers looking to sweep the Roadrunners. And the 3-1 pitch is taken for a strike. Rasmussen thought it was a 4th ball, and so he started down the first base line, only be told to come back by the home plate umpire. 3-2 the count. Here's the pitch, and there's ball 4. And that'll bring up Andrew Graham for the Roadrunners. Graham in the first game of this doubleheader went 1 for 4, including an RBI. He struck out once. So Drew Price gives up the leadoff walk. Price fires over to first. Rasmussen back safely. Here's the first pitch from Drew Price. And that's going to be high for ball one. So 1-0 the count. Runner on first. We're in the top of the first. Rangers following that ninth inning come from behind win in game one. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that ball's going to be lifted into foul territory. Dylan Bradford goes back, but he is not able to bring that one in as it is back into the Roadrunner bullpen. The count moves to 1-1. So 1-1 the count. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That swung on and missed for a strike. Meanwhile, Brooks Rasmussen is going to take second on the stolen base. The ball had gotten away from Ranger catcher Zach Vital. And now, looks like Rasmussen is going to have to go back to first. Not sure what the call there was, but whatever it was, it favors the Rangers in this situation. And it looks like Andrew Graham has struck out. So there's one away. That'll bring up Cam Uran. Yeah, keep making that mistake for the Roadrunners. Cam had himself a really nice first game of this doubleheader. Went 2 for 4 with an RBI, including a double off the wall in right field. The first pitch to Uran is taken for a ball. Count is 1-0. Rasmussen on first. 1 out. In the top of the first. Drew Price gets the sign, fires over to first. Rasmussen back safely. Not a huge leadoff for Rasmussen. Price checks the runner. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be taken for ball one. Or ball two, rather, excuse me. So 2-0 is the count. 1 out. Top of the first. Runner on first. By virtue of a leadoff walk. Drew Price, the 6'4" righty out of New Mexico. And that's going to be a pitching clock violation. And so that'll be ball 3. So 3-0 the count. Here's the 3-0 pitch. And that's going to be in there for a strike. 3-1. Jake Williams in the designated hitter spot for this game in the on-deck circle for the Roadrunners. 3-1 the count on Uran. That ball is swung on and missed. Meanwhile, the throw down to second, and Rasmussen is in with a stolen base. I think. Yes. All right. Very good. So Rasmussen with the steal. The count is now 3-2. Runner on second, 1 out in the top of the first for the Rangers. Price gets the sign, checks the runner as second. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be a called strike 3. And Uran disagreed, but nevertheless, that's the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Jake Williams. Jake Williams was 1 for 3 in the first game of the doubleheader. Also struck out once. Here's the pitch from Price, and the first pitch to Jake Williams is a called strike 1. So we're in the top of the first. There are 2 outs. The game is scoreless at this point. There is a runner on second by virtue of the leadoff walk and the stolen base. Here's Price with the 0-1 pitch to Jake Williams, and that's going to be taken for a ball, and that'll move the count to 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that ball's going to be fouled off. And the count moves to 1-2. Rangers looking to start the season with a 3-0 record. This Metropolitan team was picked to finish second in their conference. Here's the pitch, and that is taken for a ball. Count goes to 2-2, and certainly with 3 returning All-Americans in the heart of the lineup, you would certainly expect them to be picked to finish pretty high in their conference. 2-2 the count. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be outside. Count's going to move to 3-2. Should Jake Williams extend the inning, Zach Schuler on deck for the Roadrunners. Schuler gets the call to catch in this second game of the doubleheader today. Here's the 3-2 pitch from Price, and that ball is going to be fouled off. Count's going to hold at 3-2. Drew Price has already thrown 22 pitches in this opening inning. 3-2's the count. Here's the pitch, and that's off. That's going to be ball 4. So that'll put runners on first and second. Zach Schuler to the plate for the Roadrunners. Schuler in the first game went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs, including the game's only home run and also a 2-run double off the right field wall. So this is obviously a hitter that you want to be somewhat careful with. First pitch from Price, and that's swung on and missed for strike 1. So 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch, and that's taken for a strike. Move the count to 0-2. So 0-2's the count. Runners on first and second by virtue of 2 walks given up by Rangers starter Drew Price. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and that's going to be outside and low for a ball. Move the count to 1-2. Price gets the sign, checks the runner at second. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that's going to be down and outside for a ball. The count evens out at 2-2. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So Drew Price does a good job of pitching himself out of trouble. No runs for the Roadrunners on no hits. We go to the bottom of the first. Score tied 0-0. Leading off for the Rangers is going to be Dylan Bradford. He'll be followed by Carson Wright and Hagen Barcelo. Dylan Bradford playing first base in this second game of the doubleheader for the Rangers. He went 1 for 4 in the first game with an RBI and a walk. And he will face the right-hander Jack Slominski. Here's the first pitch. And Bradford's going to look at strike one. We talked about Slominski in our pregame show. Two-time Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference Pitcher of the Year last year. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Bradford is swinging, and that ball is going to get through for a base hit. So the Rangers get their leadoff hitter aboard. Bradford with a sharp single into right field. That'll bring up Carson Wright. Carson Wright, left fielder in this second game for the Rangers. He went 2 for 3 with 2 walks in the opener of this doubleheader. Also scored 2 runs. First pitch from Slominski is swung on, and that's going to be a foul ball. Over at Percival Fieldhouse, the Ranger men are leading Arkansas Monticello by a score of 30-18, trying to follow up the Ranger women's victory. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That's going to be taken for a ball. Meanwhile, the runner down to second, and he is safe as Dylan Bradford gets a stolen base. And just like the Roadrunners who stole second in the top of the first, the Rangers turn around and do the same in this inning. That's the Rangers' third stolen base of the day. They stole 2 in the first game of this doubleheader. So Dylan Bradford gets himself in a scoring position. The count is 1-1 on Carson Wright. Wright's going to look at that pitch. That's going to be high and outside for a ball. Count's going to move to 2-1. Hagen Barcelo on deck for the Rangers. Count is 2-1 to Carson Wright. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be outside for a ball. Count's going to move to 3-1. Well, 3-1 to the Rangers' hot-hitting left fielder, Carson Wright. Here's the pitch, and that ball's going to be fouled straight back, and that'll move the count to 3-2. 3-2 the count. Nobody out in the bottom of the first. Dylan Bradford at second, following a single and a stolen base. Here's the pitch, and that's swung on and missed for the first Ranger strikeout of the second game of the doubleheader. And that'll bring up Hagen Barcelo. Barcelo was 1 for 4 with a walk in the first game. Barcelo hits the first pitch into left field for a base hit. Here comes Bradford rounding third, and he will score. And the Rangers take a 1-0 lead. So Hagen Barcelo with the sharp single to left field. Bradford, who's got really good speed, comes around from second to score. And the Rangers lead it 1-0. That'll bring up Paul Sachin. Sachin, the first game hero, with the walk-off single in the bottom of the ninth. Sachin had 2 hits in that first game, 2 RBIs. Only 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Here's the first pitch from Slominski. Sachin swings and fouls it off. Count will go to 0-1. Won the count. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be taken for a ball. Count will move to 1-1. 1-1 the count. Here's the pitch. And that ball's going to be fouled off. And that'll move the count to 1-2. The sun has come out in Alva. The clouds are slowly drifting away, and we got sunshine on the field and shadows, and it's a beautiful, beautiful day for baseball. But then again, when's it not a beautiful day for baseball? It's always a gorgeous day for baseball. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be taken for a ball. Count moves to 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out in the bottom of the first. Rangers leading 1-0 on a Hagen Barcelo RBI single, scoring Dylan Bradford. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that looks like that hit Sachin, and he will take first base. So that'll bring up Trevor Sayre. Sayre in the first game went 0 for 4, just a couple of Ranger starters that weren't able to get a hit. Here's the pitch. And Sayre's first pitch swinging. He's got to foul that one back. Count 0-1. Porter Pittman on deck for the Rangers. So 0-1 the count. Rangers leading 1-0. 1 run on 2 hits here in the bottom of the first. Slominski will call time. Here's the 0-1 pitch. And that ball's going to be fouled off. And that'll move the count to 0-2. So 0-2 the count. The pitch from Slominski is swung on and missed by Sayre. And that's the second out of the inning. So that'll bring up Porter Pittman. Porter's the designated hitter in this second game of the Rangers doubleheader. Porter drew a walk in his first at bat, came around and scored in the first game. He's first pitch swinging and missing. That's strike 1. 0-1 the count. Pittman, the designated hitter in this capper of the series. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that's going to be taken for a ball. And the count moves to 1-1. So 1-1 the count. 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Rangers leading it 1-0. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that's going to be high for ball 2. And 1 the count. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and Porter Pittman's going to look at that one. That's going to move the count to 3-1. So 3-1 the count. Rangers have runners on first and second. Bottom of the first, leading this one 1-0. Here's the pitch, and that hit him. So Porter Pittman will take first base. Well, we think, unless they said it hit his bat. I sure thought it hit him. And the umpires will gather up, and we'll see what is decided. And it looks like they're going to decide that it was a foul ball. So that'll move the count to 3-2. Three and two the count, 2 outs, bottom of the first. Rangers have gotten 1 across in this inning on a Hagen-Barcelo RBI single. Slominski gets the call. Now he's going to kind of bluff a move back to second base. Nobody back there covering, though, and Hagen-Barcelo is back safely. Oh, now they're going to say pitcher's clock violation again, and so that's going to end up issuing a walk to Porter Pittman, and that'll load the bases up for Colby Grace. Colby Grace was 1 for 3 in the first game. He also drew a walk, scored a run. And the first pitch to Grace is going to be swung on and missed for strike 1. Rangers have gotten 1 across here in the first, but a chance to get more. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be low for a ball. So 1-1 the count. Barcelo at third, Sachin at second, Porter Pittman at first. 1-1 the count to Colby Grace. Here's the pitch, and Grace is going to rip that one foul. That'll move the count to 1-2. One and two the count. Here's the pitch, and Grace will lift that one into shallow right center field. Right fielder Uran is underneath it. He will make the catch, and that will be your third out. But the Rangers do grab a run. They lead it 1-0 as we go to the top of the second. So Andrew Paulini, Tyler Tobey, and Jaden Cordova will bat for the Roadrunners to face Drew Price in the second. Here's the first pitch from Price. That swung on a miss for strike 1. Paulini did not get the start in the first game of this doubleheader. Here's the pitch. That swung on a miss for strike 2. He did come on as a pinch hitter, struck out in his one plate appearance. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and that's taken for ball 1. So 1-2 the count. Paulini playing first base the second game of the doubleheader. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And that's low and outside for a ball. Move the count to 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And that's outside for ball 3. So Price, after getting ahead 0-2, now thrown 3 straight balls that have missed. Count's now full. Here's the payoff pitch. And that's a called strike 3. That's the second time today that a Roadrunner hitter has been called out on strikes and has questioned the accuracy of said calls. That'll bring up Tyler Toby. Toby, starting at second base, takes a strike 1. 0-1 the count. Price gets the sign, and here's the 0-1 pitch. And that ball is going to be lifted into right field. Paul Sachin underneath it makes the catch. And there is out number 2. So that'll bring up Jaden Cordova. Drew Price gets the sign. Here's the pitch to Cordova. And Cordova will look at strike 1. 0-1 the count. We're in the top of the second. Rangers are leading it 1-0. Drew Price is ahead in the count. 0-1. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 2. So 0-2 the count. Price with the pitch. Just off the outside corner. Taken for a ball. I'll move the count to 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And that's taken for a ball. That'll move the count to 2-2. Nobody on, 2 outs here in the top of the second. Rangers leading it 1-0. Trying to cap off a 3-game sweep to start the season. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And Cordova will look at ball 3. It's 41 pitches thrown now by Drew Price. 21 strikes and 20 balls. But he has kept the Roadrunners off the scoreboard so far. 3-2 pitches taken for a ball. And Cordova has walked. That'll bring up Gavin Schmay. Here's the first pitch. That ball is lifted foul. So the count is 0-1. The count. Jaden Cordova on first following his walk. Here's the pitch from Price. Runner takes off. Meanwhile, the ball is hit into the gap in left center field. Sayre cuts it off. Meanwhile, here comes Cordova. He's going to round third. Here's the throw to the plate, and he is going to be safe. Schmay gets into second with the double, and the Roadrunners have tied it up. So Gavin Schmay just hits a absolute rope. And Cordova, who never hesitated, rounded third, came home to score. And we have a tied ball game. So that'll bring up Brooks Rasmussen. And the first pitch from Drew Price to Rasmussen is taken for a ball. Rasmussen walked in his first plate appearance. Roadrunners now have a runner on second, 2 outs. Here's Price with the pitch. And that's going to be looked at for a ball. That'll move the count to 2-0. Here's Price with the 2-0 pitch. And Rasmussen will rip that one foul out of play. Move the count to 2-1. Price with the 2-1 pitch. That ball is roped into right field. Sachin is back on it. Leaps, can't bring it in. It's off the wall. One run scores. Rasmussen is around second. He's going to third. There's not going to be a throw. And Rasmussen is then going to be in with an RBI triple. And the Roadrunners take a 2-1 lead. Boy, that ball looked like it was going to be gone when it left the bat. Wind kept it in, and the end result is a long triple. That'll bring the score to 2-1. Bring out a visit from the pitching coach. Well, the visit to the mound is over. Rangers do have a couple of pitchers warming up. Drew Price, to this point, has already thrown 48 pitches. You've got a real murderer's row coming up for the Roadrunners. Andrew Graham, who struck out in his first plate appearance, is up now. First pitch to Graham is taken for strike one. You've got 2 outs in the top of the second. Roadrunners have scored twice in this inning to take a 2-1 lead. But there is a runner on third. Here's the pitch. And that'll be taken for a ball. Count moves to 1-1. Here's Price with the 1-1 pitch. And that's over for a strike. Count moves to 1-2. 1-2 the count. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be a little outside for a ball. And the count moves to 2-2. Here's Price with the 2-2 pitch. That's a called strike three. So Drew Price with a very emphatic strikeout to end the second, but the Roadrunners do score 2. They lead it 2-1. We're going to the bottom of the second. Leading off for the Rangers will be catcher Zach Vital. Vital is first pitch swinging and missing for strike one. Slominski with the 0-2 pitch. That's a called strike three. And that'll bring up Jacob Wiltshire for the Rangers. First pitch to Wiltshire swung on a miss for a strike. Jack Slominski, very accomplished pitcher last year. You get a chance to get to him, you've got to do it. Rangers left a lot on the bases at the end of the first inning. Left the bases loaded. Second pitch to Wiltshire is fouled off, so now it's 0-2. You let a pitcher like this get in a groove and get in a rhythm, he can make life really difficult on hitters. He's got Wiltshire down 0-2, the 0-2 pitch, and that's going to be slapped into right center field for a single. Jacob Wiltshire comes up with his first hit of the day. And for the second inning in a row, the Rangers have base runners. Well, that'll bring up Dylan Bradford for the Rangers. Bradford singled his first time to the plate. So now the Rangers with a runner on first, one out. In the bottom of the second, trailing 2-1. One 0 pitch to Dylan Bradford is fouled off, and that'll move the count to 1-1. So 1-1 the count. 1-1 pitch is taken for a ball, and that'll move the count to 2-1. Both starting pitchers have thrown a lot of pitches early. Drew Price has thrown 53 pitches in 2 innings. Slominski is about to throw pitch number 37. He fires back to first, but Wiltshire's back safely. So 2-1 the count. And here's the pitch. And Bradford's going to look at that one. And that's going to move the count to 3-1. Rangers trying to answer the 2 runs scored by Metropolitan in the top of the second. Fires back to first. Wiltshire back safely. So 3-1 the count. 1 out in the bottom of the second. Rangers trailing 2-1. Here's the pitch. And there's a chopper hit to first base. Paolini up on it, throws to second, but not going to be able to have a play at first. And so Bradford is going to reach by virtue of the fielder's choice. So that'll bring up Carson Wright. Wright struck out in his first plate appearance. And the first pitch is down low for a ball. And the count is 1-0. We're in the bottom of the second. Dylan Bradford on first. 2 outs, Rangers trailing at 2-1. Slominski will fire to first, but Bradford back safely. Rangers have stolen 3 bases today. Here's the pitch. And Carson Wright will take ball 2. 2-0 the count. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be high for ball 3. Hagen Barcelo in the on-deck circle for the Rangers if Carson Wright can keep the inning going here. He's ahead in the count 3-0. Here's the pitch. And he's going to lift that one foul and out of play on the third base side. And that'll move the count to 3-1. Three and one the count. Here's the pitch. Runner takes off, and the throw is not going to be in time as Dylan Bradford is going to steal. And that's the Rangers' 4th stolen base day. Well, not going to be a stolen base, is it? Because it ends up being a walk. All right. Chris will get it right here in a minute. The main point, though, is that the Rangers now have runners at first and second. 2 outs for Hagen Barcelo. Barcelo singled in the first inning, drove in a run. And the Rangers look to scratch out another run or 2 here in the second. So Hagen Barcelo steps to the plate. An opportunity to drive in a run here. Is be his second RBI of the day if he could get one across. Here's the pitch from Slominski, and that's taken for a ball. Count is 1-0. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's going to be inside for a ball. Move the count to 2-0. Dylan Bradford is second. Carson Wright at first. 2 outs in the bottom of the second. Rangers trailing at 2-1. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and that's going to be hit to shortstop Schmey, who's up with it, fires over to Tyler Toby covering second. That's your 3rd out. So the Rangers fail to score. We go to the top of the 3rd. Rangers trailing it 2-1. On to pitch for the Rangers is number 36, Colby Mitchell. He faces Cam Uran to start things off here in the top of the third. After throwing 2 balls, he follows it up with a strike. And the count is 2-1. Here's the 2-1 pitch. And that's going to be a called strike. Count's going to move to 2-2. Uran was actually called out on strikes in his first at bat back in the first inning. So 2-2 the count, the top of the third. Rangers trailing 2-1. Here's the 2-2 pitch. That is swung on and missed for strike 3. So Cam Uran with a couple of strikeouts to start this game. That'll bring up Jake Williams. Williams walked in his first plate appearance in this second game of the doubleheader. Had one big hit in the first game of this doubleheader, where he drove in a run. The first pitch to Williams is over for strike 1. So 0-1 the count. And here's the pitch. That ball's going to be roped into left field for a single. Just a hard hit grounder right in between the third baseman and the shortstop. And that'll bring up Zach Schuler. Schuler's 0 for 1 today. He struck out swinging in his first at bat. Of course, Schuler with a home run and a 2-run double in the first game of the doubleheader. Mitchell gets the sign. And here's the first pitch. And that's going to be high and outside for ball 1. So 1-0 the count. Here's the pitch, and that's outside for a ball. Count moves to 2-0. Over at Percival Fieldhouse, the Ranger men lead Arkansas Monticello now 53-35. Ranger basketball looking for a sweep. Ranger baseball looking for a sweep. The 2-0 pitch is skied into center field. Serra is back on it, but he's going to watch this one get out of here. And that's a 2-run home run for Zach Schuler, his second home run of the day. And RBIs number 4 and 5. And that'll bring a visit to the mound by head coach Ryan Bowen and a pitching change. On to pitch for the Rangers is number 49, Schaefer Glasscock. Glasscock, a 6'4", 205-pound junior out of Pleasanton, Texas, by way of Orange Grove down there in the Corpus Christi area. And he'll face Andrew Paulini, who looks at strike one. Paulini struck out in his first plate appearance today. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That's going to be skied out to center field. Sayre back on it, underneath it. Got it. And there's out number 2. So that'll bring up Tyler Tobey. Tobey flied out to right fielder Paul Sachin in his first at bat. So Schaefer Glasscock trying to settle things down for the Rangers. His first pitch to Tobey is a strike. Glasscock, the former Orange Grove Bulldog. Pitch, and that is taken for a ball. Count moves to 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that is taken for a strike. Count moves to 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And that time, Glasscock tried to go inside. Ball didn't catch quite enough of the plate, though. Count moves to 2-2. 2-2 the count. 2 outs. And the 2-2 pitch is going to be fouled off. Count's going to hold at 2-2. Rangers now trailing this one 4-1. 4 runs on 4 hits, no errors for the Roadrunners. 1 run on 3 hits, no errors for the Rangers. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So Schaefer Glasscock comes in, strikes out Tobey, and the Rangers limit the damage. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Rangers trailing this one 4-1. Leading off for the Rangers is going to be Paul Sachin. Sachin, the hero of the first game with the game-winning walk-off single. He was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. And the first pitch to Sachin is taken outside for ball 1. Slominski's still on the mound for the Roadrunners. He's now thrown 47 pitches, 26 of them for strikes. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And Sachin's going to chop that one to first baseman Paulini, who flips over to the pitcher. And there's 1 away. So that'll bring up Trevor Sayre. Sayre's 0 for 1 in this game. He struck out swinging in his first appearance. We're in the bottom of the third. Rangers trailing it 4-1. Here's the pitch to Sayre. That ball's going to be right back up the middle for a base hit. Trevor Sayre with the single. First pitch single. Just a hard, low line drive right back up the middle. That'll bring up Porter Pittman. Pittman singled in his first at bat. Or I'm sorry, no, he walked in his first at bat. Excuse me. He did get on base, but it was by virtue of the walk, not a hit. Here's the first pitch to Pittman, and he's going to take that for strike one. 0-1 the count. So 0-1 the count. Sayre leading off first base. Slaminski fires over to first base. Sayre back safely. Colby Grace in the on-deck circle for the Rangers. Here's the pitch. Porter Pittman swings and misses. That'll bring the count to 0-2. Rangers scored 1 in the bottom of the first. The Roadrunners have scored 2 in the second, 2 in third. Rangers trying to answer. That ball's going to be skied into left field. Cordova is underneath it, makes the catch, and there's the second out of the inning. So that'll bring up Colby Grace. Grace is 0 for 1 in this game. Flied out to right fielder Cam Uran in his first at bat. So runner on first, 2 outs now. Here's the pitch, and the first pitch to Colby Grace is going to be inside for a ball. Want to know the count? Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's going to be hit sharply to shortstop Schmay, who's up with it, makes the throw to first, and there's your third out. So the Rangers are retired. They do get a hit, but they do not come up with a run. They trail it 4-1. We're going to the fourth inning. Leading off for the for the Roadrunners in the top of the fourth is going to be left fielder Jaden Cordova. Cordova walked in his first plate appearance. Schaefer Glasscock on to pitch the fourth inning for the Rangers. Hoping to follow up the success he had in the last inning where he struck out the one batter that he faced. First pitch to Cordova is taken for a ball. The count is 1-0. Gavin Schmay on deck for the Roadrunners. Here's the 1-0 pitch taken for a strike. Count is 1-1. So 1-1 the count. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be just off the plate for a ball. And the count moves to 2-1. Coach Ryan Strain for the Roadrunners. This is 7th year at Metropolitan State. And the 2-1 pitch to Cordova is taken for strike 2. Coach Strain is 168 and 109 for a 60.6% winning percentage for the Roadrunners. The 2-2 pitch. And that's high for ball 3. The last 3 seasons, they've gone 111 and 46 for a winning percentage of .707. And we said they've made the NCAA Division II tournament 2 years in a row now. Here's the payoff pitch. And that's going to be skied foul. Count's going to hold at 3-2. Last year, they went 42 and 14 and finished second in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference with a record of 25 and 7, including a 17-game winning streak. So this is a team that knows how to win. The count here to Cordova is 3-2, and here's the pitch from Glasscock. Swung on and missed for strike 3. And so Jaden Cordova goes down on strikes. That'll bring up Gavin Schmay. He's 1 for 1 with a double. First pitch to Schmay is swung on and missed for strike 1. 0-1 the count. One pitch is low and inside for a ball. Moves the count to 1-1. So 1-1 the count to Gavin Schmay. Here's the pitch. Hard hit grounder to second base. Hagen Barcelo can't quite come up with it. And that's going to be ruled a single, I am quite positive. And Gavin Schmay has his second hit of the day. So that'll bring up Brooks Rasmussen. Rasmussen tripled in his first at bat. Roadrunners leading this one 4-1. Here's the first pitch to Rasmussen, and that's taken for strike 1. So 0-1 the count. Glasscock fires over to first. Back safely. And the pitch is bunted down the third base line, and they're going to wait and see if it goes foul, and I think it will. That is a foul ball, and that'll move the count to 0-2. Well, that was one they had to be patient, be patient, be patient, be patient. And finally went foul. So the count's 0-2 to Brooks Rasmussen. Runner on first. Here's the pitch from Glasscock. That ball is fouled down the right field line, first base line. Count will hold at 0-2. 0-2 the count. Here's the pitch. And looked like that was a pitch out. But it'll result in a ball. Runner was not going. despite the score being what it is, and that ball is going to be lifted into shallow center field. Shortstop Wiltshire is back, makes the catch, and there's the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Andrew Graham, who's 0 for 2 today. He has struck out swinging, and he's also been called out on strikes. Ranger pitchers have struck out 7 of these Roadrunner hitters. First pitch to Andrew Graham is a strike. But when they've made contact in this game, they've hit the ball hard. So 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be high for a ball. Well, that might have been another attempted pitch out. Either way, it's 1-1. 2 outs, top of the 4th, runner on first base. Metropolitan State leading the Rangers 4-1. Rangers trying to close out the sweep. Here's the pitch, and that ball's going to be fouled back. And the count moves to 1-2. Oscock fires over to first. Schmay is back safely. Here's Schaefer with the 1-2 pitch. And that ball is going to be lifted foul. And the count will hold at 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And that's outside for a ball. Runner takes off for second. He is going to be safe with a stolen base. Meanwhile, the pitch was ruled a ball, so that'll bring the count to 2-2. But now there's a runner on second. Still 2 outs, top of the 4th. 4 runs on 5 hits for the Roadrunners. 1 run on 4 hits for the Rangers. And here's the 2-2 pitch. And that's going to be taken for ball 3. Uran, Williams, and Schuler up next for the Roadrunners. 3-2 count, 2 outs. Here's the payoff pitch. And that ball is going to be lifted to left field. Carson Wright underneath it, makes the catch, and there's the 3rd out. So the Roadrunners are held off the scoreboard. We go to the bottom of the 4th. It's going to be Vital, Bradford, and Wright for the Rangers. Leading off for the Rangers to face Jack Slominski will be Zach Vital. Vital is 0 for 1 today. He was called out on strikes in his first at bat. He will be followed by Dylan Bradford and Carson Wright. The first pitch from Slominski swung on and missed for strike one. Slominski has now pitched 3 innings, given up 1 earned run, 4 hits, and 3 walks. The Rangers have only been able to tag him for 1 run. Here's the pitch. Peel down to first base. And I'm not sure what the call was. Well, here's the pitch. That ball is rifled into right field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Zach Vital gets the 5th Ranger hit of the game. We'll see if they can capitalize on it. I'll bring up Jacob Wiltshire. Wiltshire's 1 for 1 today. He singled in his first at bat. And here's the first pitch, squaring up to bunt, but he hits it foul, bunts it foul, and that'll be strike one. So 0-1 the count. Zach Vital at first. Wiltshire trying to follow up his first hit of the day. His last at bat when he hit a sharp single into right field. Squares up to bunt. This time pulls back and swings and fouls it off. That'll move the count to 0-2. Andrew Graham at third was playing the bunt. So Wiltshire tried to pull back, try to get one past him, but he was just early on his swing. Result is he's down in the count now, 0-2. So 0-2 pitch, swung on and missed for strike three. That's the 4th strikeout today by Jack Slominski. And that'll bring up Dylan Bradford. Bradford today in this game, he's 1 for 2. He singled and hit into a fielder's choice. He's got a runner on first with 1 out in the game. The Rangers are trailing 4-1. The first pitch to Bradford is taken for a strike as that pitch catches the outside corner. So 0-1 the count to Dylan Bradford. Carson Wright in the on-deck circle for the Rangers. Here's Slominski with the 0-1 pitch. And that ball's going to be shot into center field. Rasmussen back on it, makes the catch. And there's 2 outs. The ball was hit well, but unfortunately it was what they call an atom ball, meaning it was hit right at him. That'll bring up Carson Wright, who in this game is 0 for 1. He struck out swinging and he walked. And here's the first pitch from Slominski. That is really inside, taken for a ball. Count is 1-0. Hagen Barcelo in the on-deck circle for the Rangers. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And Carson Wright is going to chop that pitch foul. Count's going to move to 1-1. After 6 Ranger home runs yesterday, there have been no Ranger home runs today in either game. Counts 1-1. Here's the pitch. And Carson Wright's going to look at strike 2. So 1-2 the count. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And that ball's going to be lifted foul. And the count will hold at 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And Wright's going to look at ball 2. 2-2 the count. Runner on first. Bottom of the fourth. Rangers trailing 4-1. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And that ball's going to be chipped over to third baseman. Andrew Graham is up with it. Fires to first. And there's the third out. So Rangers are unable to score. They do get a hit, but they trail it 4-1. We're going to the top of the fifth. On to pitch for the Rangers. It's going to be number 18, sophomore Will Cates. Will is 6'4", he weighs 210 pounds. He's out of Tuttle, Oklahoma, business administration major. Last year he appeared in one game for the Rangers. He started, pitched 4 2/3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 4 earned runs, walked 6, and struck out 2. Also hit a batter. And he will face Cam Uran, Jake Williams, and Zach Schuler to lead things off here in the top of the fifth. 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Roadrunners. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for the Rangers. Will Cates, the big right-hander out of Tuttle. Try to shut down this Roadrunner lineup that has been every bit as good as advertised in this 3-game series. So Cam Uran steps into the plate. He's 0 for 2 today. Struck out on a called strike 3 and also struck out swinging, and he looks at strike 1 here. So 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch. It's going to be low for a ball. That'll move the count to 1-1. 1-1 the count. Here's the pitch. And that ball is going to be roped into right center field. That's going to find the gap. Uran's round first. He's going to get to second. And the Roadrunners are going to have themselves a leadoff double in the top of the fifth. Uran just absolutely hit a frozen rope. Sachin actually did a pretty nice job coming over and cutting it off, or else Uran with his speed might have been gunning for third. So that'll bring up Jake Williams. Williams in this game is 1 for 1. He has walked and singled. Here's the pitch from Cates. And the first pitch is taken for ball 1. 2 runs in the second, 2 runs in the third for the Roadrunners, 1 run in the first for the Rangers. Cates fires to second, but Uran is back safely. So the count is 1-0. Meanwhile, back at Percival Fieldhouse, Ranger men leading Arkansas Monticello 77-57. Here's a ball hit to second baseman Hagen Barcelo. Fires over to first base. There's the first out. Meanwhile, Cam Uran, though, does get to third. So the runner is moved over. And that'll bring up Zach Schuler, is having himself quite a day at the plate. In this game, he's 1 for 2. He did strike out his first at bat, but then his second at bat, he planted it over the center field wall. The first pitch is going to be fouled off for strike 1. In the first game, he had a double and a home run over the left field wall. So Mr. Schuler's certainly validating the preseason All-American hype that he's received. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be taken for ball 1. On deck for the Roadrunners is first baseman Andrew Paulini. 1-1 is the count to Zach Schuler. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be inside for a ball, and that'll move the count to 2-1. We're in the top of the 5th. Roadrunners lead 4-1. There's 1 out. Cam Uran is on third by virtue of a leadoff double. Then he moved to third on the ground out by Jake Williams. Here's the pitch. That's going to be hit to shortstop. Wiltshire's up with it, fires to first, and there's the second out. Meanwhile, Cam Uran comes in to score, and that bumps the score to 5-1. So that'll bring up Paulini. He's 0 for 2 today. He struck out on a called third strike, and he also flied out to center fielder Trevor Sayre. And the first pitch to Paulini is taken for strike 1. So 0-1 the count to the Roadrunner first baseman. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that's swung on and missed. And the count moves to 0-2. The 0-2 pitch is rifled into right field. That's going to be fair, and that's going to be extra bases. Paulini is into second with a double. And that's the second double given up in the inning by the Rangers. So that'll bring up Tyler Tobey. Tobey today is 0 for 2. He flied out to right field, and he struck out swinging. So runner on second, 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Rangers trailing 5-1. The pitch to Tobey is skied out to right field. Sachin underneath it makes the catch, and there's the third out. But the Roadrunners do manage to grab a run. They lead at 5-1. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Well, Hagen Barcelo will lead things off for the Rangers in the bottom of the 5th. Rangers trailing this one by a score of 5-1. Jack Slominski still on the mound for the Roadrunners. And the first pitch to Barcelo is hit to third baseman Andrew Graham, up with it. Fires to first, and there's 1 pitch, 1 out for Slominski. So that'll be 5-3 if you're scoring at home. And that'll bring up Paul Sachin. Sachin in this game has been hit by a pitch, and he has grounded out to the first baseman. And here's the first pitch to Sachin. And that's going to be inside for ball one. 1-0 the count to the Rangers right fielder. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And that's going to be swung and fouled back. And the count will move to 1-1. So 1-1 the count. Nobody on, nobody out. Here's the pitch, and Sachin's going to look at ball two. Roadrunners do have a left-hander warming up in their bullpen. 1-1 the count, 2-1 the count, to Paul Sachin. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be high for ball three. The on-deck circle for the Rangers is Trevor Sayre. He would be followed by Porter Pittman. There's one out in the bottom of the fifth. Rangers trailing by 4. Here's the pitch. And that's a called strike. That'll move the count to 3-2. So 3-2 the count. Paul Sachin trying to get something started for the Rangers here in the bottom of the fifth. Here's the payoff pitch. And that ball's going to be lifted into the gap. That's going to get down. That's going to be extra bases. Sachin's rounding first. He's headed for second. Here comes the throw. And Sachin is going to be in with a stand-up double. Just a hard-hit line drive right into the gap. Sachin gets in with a double to lead, well, not to lead things off, but gets in with it, comes up with a double to maybe start things off for the Rangers. Trevor Sayre to the plate now. He's 1 for 2. He struck out swinging and singled right up the middle his last at bat. Coach Ryan Bowen and the Rangers would definitely take another one here. Here's the first pitch, and Sayre swings and misses for strike one. That double by Sachin is the Rangers' 6th hit of the game. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Rangers only had 5 hits in the last game. Here's the pitch. And that's taken for a ball. So 1-1 the count. Checks the runner at second. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And that's swung on and missed. And the count moves to 1-2. One and two the count. Paul Sachin is second base following his double. 1 out. And the 1-2 pitch is taken for a ball. And that'll move the count to 2-2. That's the 79th pitch by Jack Slominski. 2-2 is the count. Bottom of the fifth. Rangers trailing at 5-1. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And that's going to be outside for ball three. Porter Pittman in the on-deck circle for the Rangers. Three and two the count. Here's the payoff pitch. And that ball's going to be fouled back. And the count will hold at 3-2. Ranger men did defeat Arkansas Monticello today by a score of 81-63. So Ranger basketball completes the sweep of Arkansas Monticello. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And that ball is going to be fouled off. And the count will hold. Three and two the count. Here's the 8th pitch of the at-bat. And that ball is going to be rifled foul. Sayre just continues to fight off pitches and looking for one that he can drive here. 3 and two the count. Bottom of the fifth, Rangers trailing 5-1. There's one out. Paul Sachin at second following his double. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3. That's the 5th Rangers strikeout today, and that'll bring up Porter Pittman. Pittman is 0 for 1. He has walked, and he flied out to left fielder Jaden Cordova. We're now in the bottom of the 5th. There are 2 outs. Runner on second. Rangers trailing at 5-1 and haven't scored since the first inning. Here's the pitch, and Porter Pittman looks at strike 1. So 0-1 the count to Porter Pittman. Here's the pitch. And Pittman looks at a ball. Count moves to 1-1. Colby Grace in the on-deck circle for the Rangers, hoping to get a shot here. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And that ball is going to be hit to third baseman Graham. Up with it, fires to first, and there's the 3rd out. So Rangers are retired. They trail it 5-1. We're going to the top of the 6th. Will Cates out to do battle for his 2nd inning. He will face Jaden Cordova, Gavin Schmay, and Brooks Rasmussen. Cordova to lead things off here. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout. The first pitch from Will Cates is taken for a strike 1. So 0-1 the count. Cates with the 0-1 pitch. And that ball is going to be hit to center field. Sarah makes the catch, and there's 1 down. So that'll bring up Gavin Schmay. Schmay's 2 for 2 today. He's actually doubled twice. First pitch, swing and a miss for strike 1. So 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch from Cates. And that's going to be low for ball 1. 1-1 the count. The pitch, that's swung on and missed for strike 2. So Will Cates ahead of Schmay. And that ball is going to be hit to second baseman Barcelo. Barcelo up with it. Flips to first. And there's 2 outs. So Brooks Rasmussen in to pitch, or I'm sorry, up to bat. And the first pitch to Rasmussen is taken for a ball. And the 1-0 pitch to Rasmussen is taken for a strike. Rasmussen's 1 for 2 today. He has walked, he's tripled, and he's flied out. The 1-1 pitch is taken for a ball. Count moves to 2-1. So 2-1 the count. Here's the pitch. And that ball's going to be hit right smack in the middle between the third baseman and the shortstop for a single. Seeing eye single is what we used to call that. Sometimes it doesn't really matter how hard you hit the ball. It just matters where you hit the ball. The end result, though, is a 2-out single for Brooks Rasmussen. That'll bring up Andrew Graham. Graham is 0 for 3 today. He has struck out twice, and he flied out to left fielder Carson Wright. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be a little outside for ball 1. So 1-0 the count. Cates checks the runner at first. And here's the pitch. And that ball's going to be hit right back up the middle. A diving effort by Wiltshire up with it. The throw to first is not going to be in time. Meanwhile, the ball gets away from Bradford. And Rasmussen very smartly gets to third. So play that started with just a perfectly placed ground ball. Wiltshire with the diving stop, but can't get enough on the throw to get the out. That leads to the misplaced ball at first base, and the runner advancing to third. So, runners on first and third now. 2 outs in the top of the 6th. Cam Uran comes to the plate. He's 1 for 3 today. He has doubled and struck out twice. And the Rangers are going to make a call to the bullpen. We'll tell you who it is in just a second. So in the pitch for the Rangers, number 47, 6'4", junior left-hander Kyle Gescheidel. Gescheidel did pitch in the first game. He threw a third of an inning, struck out the one batter that he faced. He'll be looking to shut the door on the Roadrunners here, who are threatening again. Roadrunners lead this game 5-1. 5 runs on 9 hits, no errors for the Roadrunners. 1 run on 6 hits, no errors for the Rangers. But in the top of the 6th, a couple of seeing eye ground balls by the Roadrunners on balls that weren't particularly hit hard off Will Cates, but they just hit perfectly in their placement. And the Roadrunners have runners on first and third with 2 outs. And the Rangers, who have come back to win both games of this series so far, the first 2 games, trying to do it again. So Cam Uran steps to the plate for the Roadrunners. He's 1 for 3 today with a couple of strikeouts and a double. And here's the first pitch from Gescheitel. And that's swung on. Kind of a half-hearted swing, but a swing. And it's strike 1. Jake Williams and Zach Schuler on deck for the Roadrunners. 0-1 the count. Gescheitel checks the runner at first. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be low and inside for a ball. And the count moves to 1-1. So 1-1 the count. Rangers trailing 5-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And that's outside for a ball. Count moves to 2-1. The Rangers do have someone warming up in their bullpen, right-hander. Two and 1 the count to Cam Uran. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be low. It gets away from the catcher. And Andrew Graham will scamper down to second. Meanwhile, the pitch was a ball. So now there's runners on second and third. 2 outs. 3-1's the count. And here's the pitch from Gescheitel. And that's over for a strike. And the count goes full. So 3 balls, 2 strikes. Roadrunners on second and third. Here's the payoff pitch. And that'll be fouled off. And the count will hold at 3-2. Well, 3-2 the count. Here's the payoff pitch. That ball's going to be roped to second baseman Hagen Barcelo, who's there to make the catch. So the Roadrunners are held off the scoreboard, but they still lead it 5-1. We go to the bottom of the 6th. In to pitch for the Roadrunners, a 6'2", 185-pound redshirt sophomore, Nolan Livesey. Livesey out of Inglewood, Colorado, by way of Cherry Creek High School and South Mountain Community College in Arizona, where where he pitched 2 seasons. And over his career there, he was 4-2 at the 4.65 ERA, 32 strikeouts in 40 2/3 innings, including 13 appearances, including 9 starts. He will face Colby Grace, Zach Vital, and Dylan Bradford for the Rangers. We move into the bottom of the 6th. 2 runs in the 2nd, 2 runs in the 3rd, 1 run in the 5th for Metropolitan State. Still the 1 run in the 1st for the Rangers, and they've been held scoreless since then. Colby Grace steps up to the plate to lead things off for the Rangers in the bottom of the 6th. He's 0 for 2 in this game. He is flied out to right field, and he grounded out to the shortstop in his last at bat. So Colby Grace looking to get things started for the Rangers here in the bottom of the 6th. Here's the first pitch to Grace, and he is looking at strike 1. So 0-1 the count to the Rangers' third baseman. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be inside for a ball. I'll move the count to 1-1. Rangers have had their opportunities. They've left 7 runners on base in this game. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that's going to be skied foul. And the count's going to move to 1-2. Just haven't been able to come up with that timely hit in this one. 1-2 the count. Here's the pitch to Grace, and that's going to be inside for a ball. So 2-2 the count. And Grace will chop that one foul. And the count will hold it 2-2. So 2-2. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be chopped to third baseman. Andrew Graham is up with it, fires to first, and there's 1 down. So a 5-3 ground out for Colby Grace. That'll bring up Zach Vital. Vital is 1 for 2 today. He was called out on strikes in his first at-bat and singled in his last at-bat. And the first pitch to Vital is a strike. And Vital then slaps one to second baseman Tyler Tobey up with it, fires to first. And that's the second out of the 6th inning. So that'll bring up Jacob Wiltshire. Wiltshire today is 1 for 2. He is singled and struck out. And the first pitch to Wiltshire is inside for a ball. So it's 1-0 to the Rangers shortstop. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And that ball is going to be lifted into shallow center. Coming on is Rasmussen, or coming back rather is Tobey, but Tobey missed it in the sun. I think that's what happened. Either way, Wiltshire's on for the second time today. We'll have to see how the scorekeeper decides to score that one, whether that will be an error or a hit. That'll bring up Dylan Bradford. Bradford is 1 for 3 today. He singled, he hit into a fielder's choice, and he flied out to the center fielder. First pitch to Bradford gets away from the catcher, Zach Schuler, and Wiltshire scampers down to second base. So now the Rangers with a runner on second. Bradford at the plate, a 1-0 count, trailing this one 5-1. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that ball's going to be slapped foul. And the count's going to move to 1-1. So 1-1 the count. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be taken for a strike. And the 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. So that'll retire the Rangers. We'll go to the top of the 7th. Rangers trailing 5-1. On to pitch for the Rangers will be number 8, Brandon Smith. Smith, a junior by way of Lubbock, Texas. 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, business administration major. He will face Jake Williams, Zach Schuler, and Andrew Paolini. Williams stepping in to face him. He's 1 for 2 with a walk, a single, and a ground out. The first pitch to Jake Williams is taken for a ball. Count is 1-0. Metropolitan State leading this one 5-1 in the top of the 7th. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that ball is going to be roped into left field for a single. And Jake Williams has his second hit of the game. So that'll bring up Zach Schuler. Schuler today, in this game anyways, 1 for 3. He has grounded out and struck out swinging, but he also hit a mammoth home run over the center field wall. Brandon Smith trying to keep the Rangers at least within somewhat of striking distance. Here's the pitch, and Schuler will look at strike 1. So 0-1 the count to Zach Schuler. Jake Williams on first. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be inside for a ball. Count will move to 1-1. 5 runs, 10 hits, 1 error from Metropolitan State. 1 run on 7 hits, no errors for the Rangers. Brandon Smith checking the runner at first. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that ball is going to be roped into left field, but foul, I think. Nope, that is not foul. That is a massive, loud home run for Zach Schuler, and that's his 3rd home run of the series. That's his 4th home run of the series, and Metropolitan State takes a 7-1 lead. So a monster shot from Zach Schuler, who's absolutely been tearing the cover off the ball in this series. I mean, to the point where Carson Wright didn't even move. Metropolitan State leads it now 7-1. That'll bring up Andrew Paolini. He's 1 for 3 today. He has doubled, struck out, and flied out. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 1. Now 7 runs on 11 hits for Metropolitan State. Here's Brandon Smith with the 0-1 pitch, and that is a ball, I guess. So 1-1 the count, and that ball is going to be ripped into right field, but Paul Sachin is there for the catch, and there's the first out of the inning. So that'll bring up that'll bring up Tyler Tobey. Tobey today's 0 for 3. He has flied out twice and struck out. He's first pitch swinging. That's going to be fouled off. Count is 0-1. So 0-1 the count. And the 0-1 pitch is taken for a ball. And the count moves to 1-1. One pitch is a strike. Move the count to 1-2. Nobody on in the top of the 7th following the Zach Schuler 2-run home run. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So that's the second out of the 7th. That'll bring up Jaden Cordova. Cordova today is 0 for 2. He has struck out. He has walked. And he hit a fly ball out to center field that Trevor Sayre dealt with rather easily. Here's the pitch from Braden Smith. That is a little low and outside for ball 1. By the way, that strikeout of Jaden Cordova was the 8th strikeout issued by Ranger pitchers today. Meanwhile, Jaden Cordova has worked himself a 2-0 count. Here's the 2-0 pitch from Brandon Smith, and that's going to be outside for a ball. And the count's going to move to 3-0. On deck for the Roadrunners is Gavin Schmay. Here's the 3-0 pitch. And that's in there for a strike. So the count's 3-1. We're in the top of the 7th. Rangers trailing it now 7-1. 2 outs, nobody on. Here's the 3-1 pitch. And that ball's going to be ripped foul down the first base line. And that'll move your count to 3-2. Here's Smith with the payoff pitch to Jaden Cordova. And that's going to be fouled off. And the count will hold at 3-2. 3-2 the count. And there's another foul ball. So Brandon Smith, after getting down in the count 3-0, battled back, brought it back to 3-2, and now Cordova's just fouling balls off until he gets something that he likes. So here's Brandon Smith with the payoff pitch, and that's ball 4. So that'll bring up Gavin Schmay. Schmay today is 2 for 3. He has doubled twice, and he grounded out to third baseman Colby Grace his last time up to the plate. Roadrunners now have a runner on first, 2 outs in the top of the 7th. They scored 2 in this inning by virtue of Zach Schuler's monster home run over the left field wall. Here's the first pitch to Schmay, and Schmay takes ball 1. So 1-0 the count. Runner on first. Top of the 7th, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. And that ball's going to be lifted foul. Carson Wright over there. Actually, it stayed fair, but Carson Wright makes the catch. And there's your third out of the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Carson Wright, Hagen Barcelo, and Paul Sachin trying to spearhead the Rangers' comeback in this one. They trail it 7-1. Carson Wright will lead things off in the bottom of the 7th for the Rangers. He's 0 for 2 in this game. He struck out, walked, and grounded out to third baseman Andrew Graham. He will face Nolan Livesey, who comes on for his second inning of work. And the first pitch to Carson Wright is taken for strike 1. So 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch. And that ball's going to be skied high into right field. Cam Uran underneath it, makes the catch, and there's one down. So that'll bring up Hagen Barcelo. Barcelo today is 1 for 3. He singled, grounded into a fielder's choice, and grounded out. But he does have the Rangers' 1 RBI back in the first inning. The first pitch he takes for ball 1. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and he's going to foul that one straight back. And the count's going to move to 1-1. So 1-1 the count. Bottom of the 7th, 1 out. Rangers trailing 7-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And that's going to be high for a ball. And the count moves to 2-1. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and that's chopped foul. So 2-2 the count. Sun setting, the shadows are gone, the lights are on. Rangers trail it, however, in the bottom of the 7th, 7-1. Here's the pitch, and that ball's going to be roped into center field. Rasmussen is back on and makes the catch at the wall, and there's the second out of the inning. So Barcelo gave it a ride, but not quite far enough to clear. And there are 2 gone. That'll bring up Paul Sachin. Sachin today in this game is 1 for 2. He's been hit by a pitch. He grounded out and doubled. First pitch from Livesey is swung on and missed for strike 1. Trevor Sayre in the on-deck circle for the Rangers. If the inning should continue, here's the pitch. And that's swung on and missed. And the count's now 0-2. So 0-2 the count. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So the Rangers go down in the bottom of the 7th. They trail it 7-1. On to the 8th we go. On to pitch for the Rangers, Zach McCatherine. McCatherine, a 6'3" junior out of Enid High School. Former Plainsman will face Brooks Rasmussen, Andrew Graham, and Cam Uran. Rasmussen is 2 for 3 in this game. First pitch to him is taken for ball 1. Rasmussen with a walk, a triple, and a single. McCatherine with the 1-0 pitch, and that's going to be taken for a ball. And the count moves to 2-0. 2-0 the count. Top of the 8th, Rangers trailing at 7-1. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be outside for ball 3. So now 3-0. Andrew Graham on deck for the Roadrunners. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and that's ball 4. So McCatherine, 4 straight balls to Brooks Rasmussen. And the Roadrunners have yet another leadoff runner. Andrew Graham steps to the plate. He has struck out twice and singled in this game, going 1 for 4 to this point. And the first pitch is inside for ball 1. So 1-0 the count. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's going to be just on the inside corner for a strike, and the count moves to 1-1. Well, the count's 1-1. One pitch is taken for a ball, and the runner will move to second on stolen base or defensive indifference, depending on however you choose to interpret that. So, runner on second, the count is 2-1. Here's the pitch to Graham. That's going to be inside for a ball. And the count's going to move to 3-1. So 3-1 the count. Here's the pitch. And they will not even need to appeal to first. That is a called strike. So the count's 3-2. Cam Uran in the on-deck circle. He'll be followed by Jake Williams and Zach Schuler. Here's the payoff pitch. And he's going to hit a chopper to third baseman Colby Grace up with it. Fires over to first. There's the out. Runner holds at second. And there's the first out of the inning. So that'll bring up Cam Uran. Uran today was 1 for 4. He struck out twice, hit an absolute rocket to second baseman Hagen Barcelo that he caught and then doubled. Here's the first pitch to Uran. It is taken for ball 1. This trio in the middle of this Roadrunner lineup are every bit as good as the hype says they would be. Uran, Jake Williams, and Zach Schuler have absolutely just crushed Ranger pitching. Here's the pitch. That's swung on and missed. And the count moves to 1-1. So 1-1 the count. Seven runs on 11 hits for the Roadrunners. One run on 7 hits for the Rangers. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be fouled off. The count will move to 1-2. The All-American right fielder from Colorado. So 1-2 the count. And here's the pitch, and that's outside for a ball. Count moves to 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch. That ball's going to be roped into right field. On the run for it is Sachin. He's not going to get to it. I think it's going to end up being a ground rule double. Or it's going to be a foul ball. It's going to be a foul ball. A very emphatic foul ball. Either way, the count holds at 2-2. Down there in that part of the outfield from where we're sitting, it's a little bit hard to see. So 2-2 the count, 1 out, top of the 8th. And the 2-2 pitch is fouled back. And the count holds at 2-2. So here's McCatherine with the 2-2 pitch. And Uran is going to sky that into center field. Back onto this Trevor Sayre. Underneath it, makes the catch. And there's the second out. Meanwhile, the runner, Brooks Rasmussen, will tag and go to third. And he is out. What a throw. And so just like that, the Roadrunners' 8th is put to an end. So we will go to the bottom of the 8th. Rangers leading this one Rangers trailing this one rather by a score of 7-1. Leading off for the Rangers in the bottom of the 8th inning will be Trevor Sayre. Trevor today is 1 for 3 in this game. He has struck out twice and singled. He will face Nolan Livesey out for his 3rd inning of work. The first pitch to Sayre, and that is roped into right field. But coming on is Cam Uran, who makes another fantastic play, and that's the first out. That'll bring up Porter Pittman for the Rangers. He's 0 for 2 today. He has walked. He has flied out to left field, and he grounded out to third baseman Andrew Graham. Here's the first pitch from Livesey. And Porter Pittman swings and misses for strike 1. So 0-1 the count. Bottom of the 8th, nobody on, 1 out. Here's the pitch. And Porter Pittman will look at ball 1. Oh, 1-1 the count. Rangers trailing 7-1. Scored their only run in the first. The 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed for strike 2. Rangers scored 1 in the first on a Hagen Barcelo single. It scored Dylan Bradford, but have been shut out since. Counts 1-2, and that pitch is going to be high and inside for a ball. And that'll move the count to 2-2. 2-2 the count. Here's the pitch. And boy, I sure thought, nope, they're not going to say it hit him. I thought it hit him, but it didn't. It hit the bat, so it'll count as a foul ball. And the count will hold at 2-2. That's the second time today that has happened to Porter Pittman. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And that's going to be inside. And that'll move the count to 3-2. On deck for the Rangers is third baseman Colby Grace. He will be followed by Zach Vital. 3-2 the count. Lipsy gets the sign. And here's the payoff pitch. That's inside for ball 4. Yep, sure is. And so Porter Pittman works his second walk of the day. And that'll bring up Colby Grace. Colby Grace is 0 for 3 in this game. He flied out. He is grounded out twice, both times to third baseman Andrew Graham. Here's the first pitch. That's inside. Ball gets away from Schuler. Not far enough away for Porter Pittman to advance. So the count is 1-0. Zach Vital on deck for the Rangers. 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Rangers trailing 7-1. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's going to be inside. And that'll move the count to 2-0. Well, 2-0 the count. The 2-1 pitch, and that ball's going to be lifted into center field. Back on it is Rasmussen, who's going to watch it. Get out of here. Colby Grace. Touch them all with the Ranger home run. Rangers now trail it 7-3. So after 6 Ranger home runs yesterday, that's their first one today. Off the bat of third baseman Colby Grace. And that's going to lead to a pitching change. We'll tell you who the Roadrunners will throw when we come back. On to pitch for the Rangers, on to pitch for the Roadrunners, number 23, Braden Brooks. Brooks, a 6'1", 195-pound pitcher out of Brighton, Colorado. by way of Mountain Range High School and South Mountain Community College in Arizona. And he will face a Ranger pinch hitter, I believe. A Ranger pinch hitter. And it'll be number 55, Chad Green, on to hit for the Rangers. And to face Braden Brooks. Here's the first pitch to Chad Green. Chad Green's going to look at a strike. And the count is 0-1. 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be outside for a ball. Count's going to move to 1-1. So 1-1 the count. And here's the pitch, and that's going to be high and inside for a ball. So 2-1 to Chad Green, 6'3", 235-pound first baseman out of La Habra, California. Green swings there, but can't come up with it. Strike two. So 2-2 the count. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And that's going to be low for a ball. And the count's going to move to 3-2. 3-2 the count. Rangers trailing 7-3 in the bottom of the eighth. Here's the pitch, and Chad Green's going to foul that one off. And the count's going to hold at 3-2. Brooks gets the sign. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and missed for strike three. So there's the second out of the inning. And that'll bring up Jacob Wiltshire. Wiltshire today's 2 for 3. He struck out swinging and he singled twice. First pitch to Wiltshire is high and inside for ball one. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swung on and missed for strike one. 1-1 the count. Nobody on. Colby Grace with the 3-run home run in this inning to cut the lead to 7-3. 1-1 is the count to Jacob Wiltshire. There are 2 outs. Here's the pitch. And Wiltshire's going to hit it right down the third base line. Up with it is the third baseman. But Wiltshire's going to beat that out. Andrew Graham did a nice job of getting to the ball and fielding it, but not quite enough on the throw to get Wiltshire, who moves pretty well. And the Rangers have a runner on first. That'll bring up Dylan Bradford. Bradford today is 1 for 4. In this game, he's 1 for 4. He has singled, and he has struck out swinging. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be outside for ball one. So 1-0 the count to the Rangers' first baseman. Wiltshire at first. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and Bradford to foul that one off. And the count goes to 1-1. Won the count. Here's the pitch from Brooks. And Bradford puts a charge into that one. Uran can't get to it. That's going to get past him. Bradford's into second with a double. Wiltshire gets to third. Rangers have something cooking again. Can they come back for the third time in a row in this series? Just a rocket of a ball hit by Dylan Bradford. And that'll bring up Carson Wright. Carson Wright, after getting 3 hits in the first game of this doubleheader, is 0 for 3 today. In this game, he's struck out, he's walked, he's grounded out, and flied out. Here's the first pitch, and that's going to be inside for ball 1. So 1-0 the count to the Rangers left fielder, Hagen Barcelo, in the on-deck circle, if Carson Wright can extend the inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and Wright's going to look at ball 2. So now 2-0. Here's the pitch, and that's going to get away from the catcher. Not enough, though, to advance the runners. It is, however, going to be ball 3. And now Carson Wright is ahead in the count 3-0. Very curious to see what the Roadrunners choose to do here. If you were a hitter looking at a 3-0 count, you might just sit fastball, see if you get one, and try to drive it. Otherwise, just take the pitch. So we'll see. The count is 3-0. Rangers have struck for 2 runs in this inning, cut the lead to 7-3. There's runners on second and third with 2 outs. Carson Wright at the plate. Braden Brooks on the mound. Here's the 3-0 pitch. And that's over for a strike. Count will go to 3-1. Still a very good count for Carson Wright. Here's the 3-1 pitch. And that ball is going to be lifted foul. Paolini over at first base will take a look at it, but it's out of play. That'll move the count to 3-2. 3-2 the count. Runners on second and third. Rangers have a chance to really make a statement here. Here's a pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So with runners on second and third and 2 outs, Carson Wright strikes out. The Rangers do strike for 2 runs, though. We go to the top of the 9th. Roadrunners lead this one 7-3. Now pitching for the Rangers, number 13, Justin Dunlap. Dunlap, a 6'1" junior from Glenpool by way of Dodge City Community College. He will face Jake Williams, Zach Schuler, and Andrew Paolini, hoping to give the Ranger hitters another shot at it in the bottom of the 9th for their 3rd straight come-from-behind victory. Here's the first pitch to Jake Williams. That's inside for a ball. So the count is 1-0. Jake Williams today 2 for 3, or this game anyway, 2 for 3, the walk and 2 singles. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that ball is going to be roped into right field for a base hit just beyond the reach of Hagen Barcelo. And the Roadrunners have a leadoff runner. And that'll bring up Zach Schuler, who's just had himself a terrific day at the plate. After going 2 for 3 in the first game with 2 RBIs, he's gone 2 for 4 in this game with 2 home runs. Here's the first pitch, and the first pitch is taken for strike 1. So 0-1 the count. Zach Schuler was a designated hitter in the first game. He is caught in this game. Runner on first. Rangers trailing 7-3. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be high for a ball. The count moves to 1-1. For the Roadrunners, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fifth, 2 in the seventh. For the Rangers, 1 in the first, and then 2 in the eighth. Add it all up, it's 7-3 in favor of the Roadrunners. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that ball is going to be ripped foul. Count's going to move to 1-2. Zach Schuler. So 1-2 the count. Andrew Paolini on deck for the Roadrunners. Nobody out in the top of the ninth. Runner on first following the leadoff single from Jake Williams. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be outside for a ball. And the count's going to move to 2-2. 2-2 the count. Justin Dunlap trying to keep the Roadrunners off the scoreboard. Here's the pitch, and that bounces low. Zach Vital does a good job of blocking it, and that's going to move the count to 3-2. Three and two the count. Dunlap gets the sign. Here's the pitch. Runner breaks. And that ball, meanwhile, is going to be dumped into center field for a base hit. Jake Williams rounds second. He's on his way to third. And the Roadrunners just continue to hit, and Zach Schuler continues to hit. It's his third hit in this game. So that'll bring up Andrew Paolini. Paolini today's 1 for 4. He is struck out and doubled. But now he comes to the plate with runners on first and third. Nobody out in the top of the ninth. Here's the first pitch to Paolini. That's outside for a ball. Counts 1-0. Night has fallen. We are completely under the lights at Glass Family Field. 1-0 the count. Here's the pitch, and that's low for a ball. Again, Vital does a good job blocking it, keeping the ball in front of him, not allowing the runners to advance. Counts now 2-0. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and that's outside for ball 3. 3-0 the count. The 3-0 pitch, and that's ball 4. So that'll bring up Tyler Toby. Toby in this game is 0 for 4. He has struck out twice. Flied out to right fielder Paul Sachin twice. But he bats with the bases loaded and nobody out. As this game approaches 3 hours, looks like we'll get a pinch hitter for the Roadrunners. And the pinch hitter will be number 20, Jesse Velders. Velders started the first game of this doubleheader. He went 0 for 4. And he is certainly in a situation here with nobody out and the bases loaded where he can come up with a couple of RBIs on the day. And now we'll get a visit from head coach Ryan Bowen, which probably means a pitching change. We'll tell you who it is when we come back here in a minute. On to pitch for the Rangers is number 43, Ben Brown. Brown's a 6'2", 205-pound senior from Wichita, Kansas. Stepping into a very difficult situation. Bases are loaded with nobody out. Facing Jesse Velders, who last year won his conference batting title. Did go 0 for 4 in the first game today. However, very difficult spot for the senior from Wichita. Rangers threatened in the 8th. They did score 2 runs off a 2-run home run by Colby Grace. However, they managed to get runners at second and third with 2 outs. And they couldn't put any more on the board. Had 2 come from behind wins in this series to start. Here's the first pitch from Brown. And Jesse Velders is going to look at strike 1. Jaden Cordova in the on-deck circle for the Roadrunners. He would be followed by Gavin Schmay. And if things progress beyond there, you're then at the top of the Roadrunners lineup. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, or rather fouled. The count will move to 0-2. So 0-2 the count. Jake Williams at third for the Roadrunners. Zach Schuler at second. Andrew Paolini at first. Here's the pitch from Ben Brown. And that's going to be just off the plate for a ball. Count moves to 1-2. So 1-2 the count. Here's the pitch. And that ball's going to be fouled off, and the count will remain at 1-2. Brown gets the sign from Vital. And here's the 1-2 pitch. And that's going to be swung on and missed for strike three. So that's the first out of the ninth inning. That'll bring up Jaden Cordova. Cordova today's 0 for 2. He has walked twice and struck out. The Rangers going to bring the infield in. Here's the first pitch to Cordova. That bounces in front of Vital, who again does a really good job of blocking the ball. That's about the fourth or fifth time here in the last inning or two that he's done that. The count is 1-0 to Cordova. Schmay in the on-deck circle. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's over for a strike. And the count moves to 1-1. 1-1 the count. Here's the pitch. And that ball's going to be lifted foul. And the count remains, or moves rather, to 1-2. So 1-2 under the bright lights. First pitch of this game was at 11:53 a.m. this morning. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That gets away from Vital, but he blocks enough of it to keep it from going too far. Runners are unable to advance. The count, meanwhile, moves to 2-2. Ben Brown, of course, trying to keep the ball low because you're trying to induce a ground ball right at one of your infielders here in the hopes of getting the force out at home. Here's the 2-2 pitch. That ball is going to be put right in between the third baseman and the shortstop for a base hit. One run scores. Jake Williams comes home, and the Roadrunners now lead it 8-3. Well, in that situation, you don't necessarily have to hit a grounder all that hard. You just have to put it in the right spot, and that's exactly what happened. And Jaden Cordova has an RBI. And the bases are still loaded with one out. Now Gavin Schmay comes up to the plate. He's 2 for 4 with 2 doubles today. And that'll put Brooks Rasmussen, the leadoff hitter, in the on-deck circle for the Roadrunners. First pitch from Ben Brown is over for strike one. The Rangers in the bottom of the ninth will have Barcelo, Sachin, and Sayre set to hit. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Ben Brown. And that's kind of a half-hearted swing by Gavin Schmay, but the umpire says he did, in fact, go around. And so that's strike two. So 0-2 the count. There's one out in the top of the ninth. The Roadrunners have scored 1 in this inning. They now lead it by a score of 8-3. 8 runs on 14 hits. Here's the pitch. That's going to get to second baseman Hagen Barcelo. He's got one play to first. He makes the play. Meanwhile, Zach Schuler comes home. and it is now 9-3. So Gavin Schmay is out on the ground out to second baseman Hagen Barcelo. Score at 4-3 if you're doing that at home. Runner scores. Everybody else moves up a spot. So now there's runners on second and third for Brooks Rasmussen. He's 2 for 3. The first pitch to Rasmussen is a ball. So it's 1-0. Rasmussen has walked in this game. He's tripled and he's singled. Actually, he's walked twice, tripled and singled. 1-0 the count, and the pitch is over for a strike. So the count moves to 1-1. Runners on second and third, 2 outs, top of the ninth. Roadrunners leading at 9-3. Rangers took the first 2 games of this series in walk-off fashion. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that is fouled off. And the count moves to 1-2. So 1-2 the count. Here's the pitch. And that's a called strike 3. Brooks Rasmussen can't believe it, but nevertheless, there it is. But the Roadrunners get 2 in the ninth. They lead at 9-3. We're going to the bottom of the ninth. Will we see more late inning heroics by the Rangers? To the bottom of the ninth we go. Hagen Barcelo set to lead things off for the Rangers. He is 1 for 4 today. He had an RBI single back in the first. Since then, he's had a couple of ground outs and a fly out. He'll face Braden Brooks on for his second inning of work here for the Roadrunners. And the first pitch from Brooks to Barcelo is taken for strike 1. 9 runs on 14 hits for the Roadrunners. 3 runs on 10 hits for the Rangers. 0-1 is the count to Hagen Barcelo. And the pitch. And that's over for strike 2. Barcelo, Sachin, and Sayre to hit in this inning for sure for the Rangers. 0-2 the count to Hagen Barcelo. Here's the pitch from Braden Brooks. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So that's the first out in the bottom of the ninth. That'll bring up Paul Sachin. Sachin was the Game 1 hero, hitting the walk-off single in the bottom of the ninth in the first game. In this game, he's gone 1 for 3 with a double. And Braden Brooks with the pitch. And that catches the outside corner for strike 1. So 0-1 the count to the Rangers right fielder. Here's the pitch, and that's over for a strike. Count is now 0-2. Trevor Sayre in the on-deck circle for the Rangers. 0-2 is the count. Nobody on, bottom of the ninth. Rangers trail it 9-3. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and that's going to be outside for a ball. That'll move the count to 1-2. Braden Brooks thrown a lot of sliders so far in this inning. Tried to backdoor one there, didn't work. Didn't catch enough of the plate. And here's the 1-2 pitch. And that stays outside. That'll move the count to 2-2. So 2-2 the count. Paul Sachin trying to start yet another Ranger rally in this game. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And that one's inside. And misses. That'll bring up ball 3. So 3-2 the count. And here's the payoff pitch. And that's swung on and missed for strike 3. So that's the second out here in the bottom of the 9th. Rangers are down to Trevor Sayre. Trevor steps in going 1 for 3 in this game with a single. A couple of strikeouts. And the first pitch to Sayre is high for a ball. And it's ball 1. Game now has gone 3 hours and 5 minutes total time. 1-0 the count to Trevor Sayre. Here's the pitch. And that ball's going to be fouled back. Count will move to 1-1. So 1-1 the count. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And that just misses for a ball. I'll move the count to 2-1. If the inning is extended by Sayre here, it'll be Porter Pittman who will bat next for the Rangers. 2-1's the count. Here's the pitch. And that one is fouled off. Move the count to 2-2. And the Rangers are down to their last strike. 2-2 the count. Here's the pitch. And that's just outside. That'll be a ball. And the count moves to 3-2. Braden Brooks with a payoff pitch. And that's a called strike 3. And with that, the game ends. Well, the Rangers split the doubleheader. They take 2 out of 3 against this Metropolitan State University of Denver squad. 9 runs on 14 hits for the Roadrunners. 3 runs on 10 hits for the Rangers. And that's going to wrap it up for us. Thank you so much for watching. Remind you to tune in next Tuesday at 2 o'clock as your Rangers play Newman University from right here at Glass Family Field at Myers Stadium. Thanks again for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody.